Picture this. The economy is burning. Headlines scream doom, and everyone around you clutches their wallet like it's their last slice of pizza. Except one tiny group. They're calm, smirking even. Because every time a recession hits, the wealthy treat it like Black Friday with the lights off and the doors wide open. And here's the part nobody tells you. Recessions are not storms you survive. They're cheat codes you exploit. The rich know it. They've always known it. And today, you're going to learn exactly how their little game works. You'll see why downturns quietly transfer wealth upwards, while most people freeze. You'll learn how the rich prepare long before the first headline hits. How they scoop up assets when everyone else is too scared to breathe. How they turn panic into passive income. And most importantly, how someone normal, someone without a seven-figure cushion and a personal economist on speed dial, can copy the parts that actually matter. This isn't a motivational speech. It's a manual for flipping the script the next time the world supposedly collapses. By the end, you'll understand why the rich secretly love recessions, and why, if you stop playing the game on hard mode, you might learn to love them too. Recessions get marketed like a shared experience, as if the economy sends out a group text saying, "Hey everyone, tough times ahead, good luck." But the truth is far less adorable. Downturns hit people with the precision of a sniper. Some lose their jobs, their savings, even their homes, while others somehow walk away with an extra property and a bigger stock portfolio. If this sounds familiar, give this video a like. It helps more people who are tired of being on the wrong side of the story. The gap starts long before the recession begins. Take the 2008 crisis. Millions were drowning in adjustable-rate mortgages they barely understood. Meanwhile, big investment firms were circling neighborhoods like bargain hunters. When panic peaked, they bought entire blocks at discount prices. Same recession, two completely different movies. One group watched their net worth evaporate. The other treated it as a seasonal sale. And you can see the same pattern in more recent downturns. When the market dipped in 2020, the average family rushed to hoard canned food. The wealthy? They hoarded shares of companies that were temporarily discounted because everyone else was too scared to think straight. Netflix, Amazon, Nvidia, all beaten down, all picked up by people who had planned years before that moment. And when the dust settled, those positions exploded in value, while everyone else was still catching their breath. Why does this happen every single time? Because recessions don't create vulnerability, they expose it. People with unstable jobs, high debt, where no safety cushion, are forced into defensive mode. They sell assets, pull money out of investments, or take on expensive credit just to survive. And every time someone is forced to sell low, someone else is quietly buying low. It's an uncomfortable truth, I know, but ignoring it doesn't make it less real. If you've lived through a recession and felt like the rules of the game didn't apply equally to you, share your experience in the comments. You'll see you're far from alone. The point is simple. Downturns are never equal. They never have been. But once you understand why the imbalance happens and how the wealthy position themselves before the storm hits, you can start reshaping your own strategy instead of being another player moved around the board. Recessions don't create winners and losers. They just reveal who walked into the room holding a parachute and who showed up with a plastic bag pretending it was. And guess which group the wealthy belong to? Exactly. They arrive at every downturn armed with the one thing everybody wishes they had after the crash hits: cash. Not millions, not secret offshore magic, just liquidity. Boring, unsexy liquidity. And yet it's the closest thing to a superpower during economic chaos. Look back at 2008. While families were desperately trying to renegotiate mortgages they could never afford in the first place, firms like Blackstone were sitting on mountains of cash waiting. They didn't need to sell anything, they weren't drowning in credit card debt, they didn't have a car loan eating half their paycheck. They had one job: be patient. And when the moment came, they bought homes for prices that today look like typos. Fast forward to 2020. Most people were panic scrolling the news, stacking toilet paper, and praying their job didn't evaporate overnight. The wealthy, they were stacking shares. Amazon, Nvidia, Netflix, all temporarily knocked down, all picked up by people who had planned years before that moment. And when the dust settled, those positions exploded in value, while everyone else was still catching their breath. Here's the uncomfortable part. Having cash isn't about being rich, it's about having margin. I know people with high incomes who are broke by Friday because lifestyle inflation bleeds them dry. And I know people with very normal salaries who built a modest emergency fund and used it to invest during downturns when everything was on clearance. No yachts, no mansions, just smart moves made possible by liquidity. And this is the lesson most people hate hearing. Cash isn't a luxury, it's a strategy. It's a discipline. Even a small monthly buffer can change your position entirely during a recession. If you enter a downturn without liquidity, you become a forced seller. If you enter with liquidity, you become an opportunity hunter. Let me ask you something brutally honest. If the market dropped tomorrow, would you be prepared to take advantage or just to survive? Tell me in the comments. Real stories from real people make this whole topic painfully clear. And if this section already made you rethink your financial setup, hit the like button so more people get this wake-up call. In the end, the rule never changes. In a crisis, cash is power. And power goes to the people who planned before everyone else started panicking. When the economy falls apart, most people sprint towards safety like a crowd running into a broom closet during a fire. The wealthy, they walk calmly into the burning building with a shopping cart. Because downturns are the only time the world labels valuable assets with giant red discount tags. And they know exactly what to grab before everyone else wakes up. Let's start with the obvious, stocks. During every major crash, great companies drop in price not because they suddenly forgot how to make money, but because the public panics faster than a cat at a fireworks show. In 2008, giants like Disney and Microsoft were discounted to levels that look absurd today. In 2020, Amazon, Apple, and Tesla took temporary dives so dramatic that long-term investors practically laughed as they bought more. But the rich don't stop at stocks. That's amateur hour. They go after assets normal people overlook because fear blinds them. Real estate is a classic. In every recession, forced sellers dump properties for prices they swore they'd never accept. Meanwhile, investors with cash treat it like a clearance aisle. Entire neighborhoods were snapped up after 2008. Even during 2020, wealthy buyers quietly grabbed rentals from people who couldn't keep paying the mortgage. And then there's something even more interesting. Distressed businesses. Restaurants, small e-commerce stores, local service companies. Many become bargain opportunities. To the average person, it looks cruel. To the wealthy, it's strategic acquisition. One person sees a failing business, the other sees a customer base, equipment, and assets at half price. If you've ever seen someone brag about turning around a company during tough times, don't kid yourself. Most of the work was buying low. And here comes the part most viewers miss. You don't need millions to apply the same logic, just a shift in mindset. You can start by looking at assets that drop irrationally during recessions. Index funds, strong dividend stocks, even digital products or online businesses. The trick isn't predicting the exact bottom. The trick is being ready when everyone else is paralyzed. If you've ever watched the market crash and thought, I wish I could buy something right now, but I can't, drop a comment. You're not alone. That frustration is universal, and acknowledging it is the first step to changing the pattern next time. Here's the gritty truth the wealthy live by. Panic creates price swings that no spreadsheet can justify. They don't ask, is this scary? They ask, is this temporary? And when the answer is yes, that's when they strike. When fear peaks, opportunity peaks. Most people run away from that moment. The wealthy run toward it. The only question is which direction you'll run in when the next recession hits. When a recession hits, most people cling to their cash like it's a life jacket on the Titanic. The wealthy?
they use their cash to buy the boat. And then, here viene la parte que duele, they rent the seats out to everyone who panicked earlier. This is where the game stops being about buying cheap and starts being about earning forever. Think about rental properties. After 2008, when millions lost their homes, institutional investors who'd scooped up properties during the chaos started renting them out. Not only did they buy for pennies, they turned those pennies into long, reliable streams of monthly income. To them, the recession wasn't a disaster. It was the moment they locked in decades of cash flow while the rest of the world was trying to stay afloat. Or look at the stock market. When companies get slapped around by panic selling, their dividend yields shoot up. The rich don't just buy shares hoping they'll rebound. They buy shares knowing those dividends, those quiet, boring payments will